9 years after he started training, he was fighting at Madison Square Garden, fighting for the title. 9 years to get the hell smacked out of him. 9 years later, he's the headliner at Madison Square Garden. This get-rich-quick nonsense, this idea that you could do not much and have fantastic outcomes, nothing could be less true. And, the other day, I have a buddy that's, right down here in Florida. As you see, we got Miami Beach in the background. I have a buddy that came over here the other day, and we did an interview, and we hung out, chatted for, half a day together, 6 hours or something. And we had a fantastic dinner, a big feast, hell of a seafood feast, $1,000 dinner. I took him, it was nice. But his name is Paul Malignaggi. And, Paulie is a multi-time boxing champion. He's a world champion in his weight division multiple times, defended his title multiple times. And Paulie told a story when we were chatting. He said, I started boxing in 1997. He said in June. And he said the first time he went to a major boxing, and he said he got his ass kicked all the time, by the way. And I don't say that with a bit of disrespect, because this is a fantastic person and an elite champion boxer, one of the best boxers of his generation, one of the very top boxers of his whole generation, multi-time champion, different weight divisions, defended his title several times, is a hell of a guy. But he says when he was a rookie, when he just started, that's what it is, he was 16 years old. That's where that number came from. He's 16 years old in 1997. And he said that he'd go to the gym and get his ass kicked every day. He'd just get just a smackdown. And, you go home and try to recover overnight and go back for training tomorrow. And go do it again. And he said, man, I got so many beatings. And he said the first time he went to a professional match was about 6 months later. About 6 months after he started, he took up boxing. And he said he went to Madison Square Garden. He was from Brooklyn. And he went to Madison Square Garden. It's, that's a hell of a big auditorium. It's, quite a stadium, and a very famous stadium. One of the most, maybe the most famous place a boxing match could take place. So he says he goes to Madison Square Garden. He says the shittiest ticket in the nosebleed seats, way in the back, $25. And he said he fucking scratched up, exactly $25, and then just enough change for the subway that he could go from Brooklyn, get dropped off at Penn Station, which is right by Madison Square Garden, and he goes up to the ticket window and he lays down his $25 to buy a ticket, and he's really excited because he had a hard time getting $25 at that time in his life. This is December 1997. He had a hard time getting $25 at that time in his life. He says that the lady says that'll be $27 because there's a $2 surcharge or $2 service fee for Ticketmaster or whatever the hell issuing the tickets. And he said, man, I ain't got I don't have the money. Because I got $25. That's all. I got nothing. I got nothing else. And he says that the lady, she calls her manager. He don't answer. And she kind of slips him the ticket, and he gets to go to the event. She takes his $25. Her drawer's going to be short $2. She probably paid for it herself. And he said he wished he'd remember who that lady was. He wished he could do something nice for her because, became a fucking world champion later and so on, and made quite a lot of money in the process. So, Paulie was saying, he goes to he's sitting way in the back. People are sitting around him, of course, have no idea who he is or who he's going to become. And he's just cheering with the fans. He's just a boxing fan, And he said, it's a champion fight. I forget who he said fought that night. It's a champion fight. And he said he made a decision. He thought it was so fantastic looking down on that ring and all the hoopla and the skill set and talent these men had, beating the hell out of each other. He said he made a decision that night. He's like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I need to do this. And long story short, Paulie's a high school dropout. He was kicked out of school. But long story short, he really dedicated himself to boxing. And he said 8.5 years later, 9 years after he started, 9 years after he started training, he was fighting in June, I guess it'd be 2006, June 2006, he's fighting at Madison Square Garden, fighting for the title. I think Miguel Cotto. And he loses the fight, but that's not the point. The point is, 9 years from a teenage kid shows up in the boxing gym to get the hell smacked out of him. 9 years later, he's the headliner at Madison Square Garden, the biggest boxing arena, the biggest brand, the biggest event in the world. 9 years from rookie kid starting off to championship fight, he's the headliner. And he didn't win, but he came back and he won later. I mean, the guy won 21 fucking fights in a row, by the way. The guy won 21 fights in a row leading up to that. He comes back later, he gets his title. And later he gets a different title, a different weight division. And I told him the story. He and I were chatting about this. I told him the story. I said, I was a teenage kid. Also in 1997. I was 17 years old. 1997. I turned 18 in the middle of the year. But when I was 17, I also made a decision. I was in some very tough circumstances. And I also made that decision in 1997. Not in a half-ass way. I had the thought previously, but I made a decision in 1997. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a multi-millionaire, but I'm going to get to that first million just the first moment I can. I'm going to dedicate myself to go find $1 million. And, I was a high school dropout. I had 3 college degrees later, but I was a high school dropout. And I was sitting in a county jail cell. I was sitting in LaSalle County Jail in Illinois, for some violence-related crimes. And I made that decision then. I was like, I got to get away from these people and people that I grew up with, those sort of harsh circumstances. Like, whatever it takes, I could go find $1 million to start. I knew that was the foundation. I didn't want $1 million, period. But I'm like, how do I get my first $1 million? Because in my head, that was like a landmark of like, I'm not part of that crowd anymore. I'm not part of that riff-raff, hanging out with losers, doing loser things type of crowd. So I just took that very seriously. I worked my ass off. I got a job. I got a raise. I got promotions. I'll tell that story another time, but I got raises. I got promotions. I got treated very well in my job because I worked my ass off and I was smart, so I get good outcomes. And it took me until I was 29. It was a few days after my 29th birthday, which is over 11 years. It took me 11 years to go from being that kid, sitting in a 17-year-old kid in a little county jail. It took me 11 years later, I had my first $1 million. It took Paulie 10 years to get his championship, by the way. Fought for the championship after 9 years, secured it in 10 years. And, people that are thinking like you're going to get rich overnight, you're going to do these big things overnight, you're probably never going to do them at all. You're probably never going to do it at all. But I'll tell you what, you had a lot better circumstances. You, and I do mean you, have a lot better circumstances where you're at in your life right now than I did when I was a rather hopeless young man. You have a lot better circumstances than Paulie did when he made a decision, I'm going to be a world champion boxer. When Derek made a decision, I'm going to be a millionaire, and then a multi-millionaire. In the past year, I've added almost $20. It's not almost, it's over $20 million to my net worth. In the past year, I've added over $20 million to my net worth. It took me till age 29 to get that first million. But then you multiply it, and then you multiply it again, and so on and so on. Pretty soon that starts turning into a lot of money. Pretty soon it's a lot of money. Pretty soon you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can spend your time how you want to. It's your life. It's your time now. They don't belong to your employer. They don't belong to some bullshit cause or bullshit service that some asswipe on television told you you're supposed to give a fuck about. but you don't. It's your life. You can do what you want with it. Don't worry about get rich quick, but do make sure you get rich. Don't worry about get rich quick. You should write this down somewhere. Tattoo it on your fucking arm or something. Don't worry about get rich quick, but do make sure that you get rich. Whatever that means for you. Whatever the right dollar amount is, that you would have enough money to fund your lifestyle now and in the future until and after your death, even given the fact that plenty of bullshit's going to get in your way between now and then. Plenty of circumstances are going to come give you a hard time. Don't worry about get rich quick, but do make sure that you get rich. And never be mistaken that that's something that happens accidentally or, yeah, it's a lifestyle choice. Prosperity is a lifestyle choice. Being a millionaire, if you're in a first world country, millionaire is a lifestyle choice. I would argue that 5 or 10 million is a lifestyle choice. It might be, if you're going to get $1 billion, you might get lucky. Billionaires, maybe you need some luck involved. But a few $1 million, that's a lifestyle choice. And it buys you a lot of freedom.
I'm not even halfway through the Markets Mastery program by Derek Moneyberg, and I have to say that it's totally a life changer. For me, I went in knowing nothing, zero about stocks. So I think it's stupid not to learn how to make money in the markets. I think it's important to acknowledge that the first weeks are going to be super hard. You're going to be practically forced to work out and exercise your brain and develop your analytical skills, your research skills, and trust yourself, into making decisions with limited knowledge. As you grow, as a stock analyst, you'll be making better decisions and so on. It's always risky, so it's always important to consider that. But if you learn all the fundamentals, all the technicals, and how people that have made money say that they've made money, and follow their tips and their advices, I think you're going to be winning more than losing. If you want to learn, join the Markets Mastery program.
Thanks for watching. Success is not for everybody, and it may not be for you. But if you're a current or future champion, if you have what it takes to win, and you are dedicated to a life of more winning, more success, a life of abundance with other people that have shared values to learn more and earn more, if that's you, you're going to want to follow this channel. You're going to want to watch my video releases every Monday and every Friday. I look forward to working with you in the future. I'll see you back here soon.